Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving up your time on a Sunday night, as we do for you. I'm shortly going to be joined by a right motley crew tonight. I mean, I couldn't get the A team, so we had to scrape the bottom of the barrel. And as you will see in a second, okay, the first up on screen, as you can see, is Ian Lyons. Welcome again, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope everyone's well.
Absolutely. Grant Saunders, welcome once again, mate. How are you?
I'll ignore you after your welcome. I'm going to say hello to everyone else watching in the matches in the background, plus Ian and plus Jel.
Hello, mate.
And finally, Mr. Holyoke in his back garden, -2 degrees. Happy New Year, big fella. How are you?
Happy New Year to you, everyone else, my fellow compatriots and Palace fans.
Yeah, looking at them out there. They're all flooding on already. Look at them. I can see you out there. Let's say hello to a few of them while I've got you on there. Andrew Adams, massive thanks to Nigel Croucher because he's done loads of work for the show this evening. Nigel, I know you're out there somewhere, mate. Thank you. Who else is there? Tom Clark, Samuel, thank you to you. Rob Donovan, Paul Holden, Andy Stacey, Charlie Byrne, Ian Appley, Spoonbill McHumpty, evening Adam, John Knox, Chris Young, and more joining all the time. So thank you wherever you are watching. If this is your first time joining the Red and Blue Review, thank you for giving up your Sunday evening. We are just a few mates sitting around a table having a yak about the Palace. Okay, we don't have to. Oh, sorry, correction. Grant's about to correct me. Go ahead, Grant.
No, just one comment from Andy Ball tonight about Jel. He's been kicked out of his house and he looks like he's a homeless man.
There's a shopping trolley to his left.
Yeah.
Where's your signage, Jill?
That's not a shopping trolley. It's an exercise bike and my incomplete bar.
It's rusty.
So it's got to keep warm somehow.
On the subject of Andy, Paul Glance, Chris Young, and Nigel, again, I can see you. Andy Best, Max Francis, Graham O'Neill, George Wagner, Graham Daniel, hundreds of Andy Ball. I can't believe I'm going to do this, okay, but I'm going to do it anyway, gentlemen. Ready?
Oh, go on, like this. We count you in.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, buddy bullshit. I hope you're well, mate. And Happy New Year to you. So welcome to the Red and Blue Review. We are going to be talking about a few different topics tonight. The boys are a little bit unbriefed on it because I actually want to see their reactions live. So we're going to be talking about 4 points over 4 games at Christmas and their thoughts on that. The big talking debate tonight, okay, and I want to dedicate the most of the show is the Luka debate, the Milivojevic debate. We're going to come straight onto that in a minute. Contracts and Roy's lack of signings comment that he made in the press over the weekend. Boys, I don't know if you saw it, okay, but and anything you want to talk about, questions from the audience. I've got some questions that are coming. Chris Brandrick, I can see you there. Anything else you think we need to cover, boys? While I take a swig of my drink.
Well, it all depends on what your 4 points are, to be fair. I mean, are we going to cover Hodgson?
Okay, I think you misunderstood what I said. The 4 points out of the 4 games over Christmas is what I said.
Oh, 4 points from 16. 4 points from 12, you mean?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. 4 points acquired in the table. Okay, sorry.
And I noticed you haven't mentioned the Predictions League. I'm glad you haven't mentioned the Predictions League, Ian, because I know I had an absolute stinker last week. Okay, an absolute. On the subject of Ian Lyons' Predictions League, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not involved in this year, okay, please get involved in it next year because we are having a lot of fun. Don't believe what I'm saying. Don't believe Grant, who's also in it, and myself. Okay, all you need to do is go onto the Red and Blue news page, okay, or onto our website, redandbluereview.co.uk, and you'll see a whole list of names on there. How many players we got, Ian? 40, is it?
45, yeah, this year.
45 players on there this year. Okay, and out of that 45 names, you will find some Palace fan that you know socially, whoever you are.
What a prize!
Okay,
what a prize!
Okay, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, but so don't ask ask about the prediction league. Ask somebody else, okay, who's actually having a bit of fun with it, okay, because that's what it is. And make sure you jump on it when we relaunch it again for next season, because 45, I expect us to double it next year, because there's been so much laughter involved in this. And Ian Lyons, you need credit where it's due. You've done a lot of hard work, very professional, and thank you for your. He's asked about prizes. Do we talk about prizes on air, Ian?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just released the manager of the month prize or the winner of manager of the month for December earlier on the page, and it's £15. It's at the minute it's £20 entry, but every month you can win £15 for being manager of the month, and then at the end of the season, there's cash prizes for first, second, and third. So, and the more people that enter, the bigger the prizes will be. So, roll on for next year.
Right, okay. And in the chat already, Scott McVeigh's asked the question, are we going to discuss transfers? Well, yeah, in my opening couple of lines, Scott, I did say I wanted to talk about contracts, the contracts that are up. I've got all the details here, okay? And Roy's comments about the lack of expected signings in January, which is a bit of a worry. And I will read you a quote from Roy himself. But boys, I think what we're going to do is we'll start off a little bit light-hearted. We're going to brush over all 4 games. We're not going to go into any detail on it. Grant Saunders, I'm coming to you first. 4 points from the available 4 games over Christmas. So we heavy loss against Liverpool and Villa, and a point against unexpected point, I would think, against Leicester, and a good 3 points yesterday. 4 points from those 4 games. How do you feel about that? Are you happy with that? Is it acceptable?
Oh yeah, ecstatic, Nick. Absolutely ecstatic. I love it. No, it's the bloody terrible festive period, wasn't it? Liverpool was going to happen. They're a dynamic. They're a superb team. Villa, we came second to the team who wanted it more than us. Spurs doesn't surprise me because I thought we bounced back. Sorry?
Spurs?
Sorry. I'm going back to the match I watched. Sorry. Now, the draw didn't surprise us. We were going to bounce back. But yesterday, I actually had a sort of side bet with Mrs. G and just said, you know, they're guaranteed, they're bound to beat us. The first and probably their only win this season is going to be us. Sheffield Wednesday did it to us years ago. But I did say if we get in there quick, we put pressure on, we're going to let their head to go down. Exactly what happened. They came out fighting in the second half. I've already talked 5 times more in the last match about the other 3 matches because they're just gone. But disappointing is, I think, one word you can use for the festive period. Unexpected. No.
And on the subject of Mrs. G, is she in the room with you?
No.
All right, I was going to wish her a happy New Year, but if she's not in the year,
she's far more interesting. She's watching the paint dry.
Yeah, indeed. Ian, acceptable amount of points, 4 points over those 4 games?
No. Listen, I can't disagree too much with what Grant said. Where do I go from this? Liverpool, you've just got to, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say they were by far and away the better team. Leicester, we were unlucky with Leicester. Well, I thought we did really well. Worked a good goal, good workmanlike performance against a team that, although they had made, I think people were making a lot more of it than we should have done, because we were playing a team that had made 7 changes on the basis that we'd just been whopped 7-0 and 3-0 and that they were going to walk it. So maybe we took it a little by surprise. Yesterday's game, we played a team with the worst ever start in the top division, and a worldie apart. Was it really more than a workmanlike performance against a team that's going through a wretched period of form and a serious number of injuries? But the game that really, really hacked me off, and the performance that really, really hacked me off, was the Villa one. I'm not saying we should have gone there and won, but when you're playing against 10 men after 45 minutes, and for the nature of the performance, and for the manager's lack of decision making, and only only making decisions when we're 2-0 down, is just unforgivable. So 4 points. It should have been more.
Yeah. Okay. In the chat, I don't know where Jel seems to have dropped off, and somebody is actually mentioning in the chat that one of us keeps freezing. I don't know who it is. If it's me, I apologise. I did reset my
before we went live. Who is it, George?
George, let us know who it was. Okay. Or Andy, I know you're there, mate. Let us know who it is. Lyndon, Andrew Barstow, I can see you. Steve Brimble, Kathy Thompson, good evening. Happy New Year, honey. Mark Drew, I know you're all out there. And so a very warm welcome. Great to have you there. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And let's hopefully it won't be too long before we get back into the ground and get to see each other properly as opposed to this. Nigel Croucher is giving us his match summaries there. As you can see on the screen, we don't want to talk about the Villa game. Not much better than the Liverpool game and Leicester at home. Very poor first half. Improved. Ray read the team the right act, as we know. Back to winning ways against Sheffield, which is about sums it up, really. Guys, I think the big story of the weekend wasn't the fact that we got a 2-0 home victory against a very, very poor Sheffield team. They are. I don't know how to really sum them up, but they are terrible. I don't know where Jill's not there, but it's the sort of thing. Oh, before we move on, I want to talk. We're going to do Luca Gate and do a Luca Gate in great detail, if you don't mind, boys. Before we do that, Grant, apparently you wanted to talk about the Price of Football book.
No, I'd ask you because obviously last time we were on, we did remind people that we got this book, and Joe was going to pick a winner for us, but he's gone now.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's what.
That's
maybe
what
that's what
I think he's gone off to read a book.
Listen,
I think Joe didn't Joe ask everyone to give us the names of the reindeers or something, and there was loads of stuff in the chat, and I fed it through and heard nothing since. But anyway,
all right. Well, I know he was compiling the names. So there's the book. Whoever's won it, Max Francis says Palace are consistently inconsistent. Now, I don't know where you got that from, Max. I don't really know where you got that from. But I think you're absolutely right. Oh, yeah, I do know. Right, so the biggest talking point over the weekend has to be the Luca, or as Nigel just called it in the chat, Luca Gates. I've got the complete transcript of the post-match interview in front of me, boys. I'm going to read it to you shortly. First of all, opening live from you both, okay? Your thoughts on the subject, very briefly, please. And then we're going to go, then we're going to crack into it in detail. Because I think before you give me your opening lines, I think the manager has got this wrong. I think, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, he's fucked this up, okay? Big. And I'll tell you for why. Ian Lyons, you go first.
As soon as it came out, he should have been benched. I don't think he should even have been in the squad, to be perfectly honest. I understand it only came out, even though it was a couple of hours before the game. But again, Hodgson doesn't like to change things, does he? You know, he's uncomfortable with spontaneity. I heard his after-match comments, and I made him write on those. But I'd be interested to see what you're going to read out. But no, he shouldn't have started.
Okay, and of course, it followed up with a social media shitstorm. Okay, with lots of stuff, and he says fumbling through his papers here, trying to find the relevant stuff from social media. I have got them here. Okay, but we'll come to that in a minute. Grant, I'd love to know a quick overview from you about your thoughts on the Luca scenario.
I thought on Luca, first of all, he's one of them, isn't he? He really is tough. I think it's no secret how I feel about all this lot, and there'll be people listening to this tonight who broke the rules, etc. You know, this it's just not. It's not a nice thing. This thing it's been had in this household. It's not nice. And why do they think they're above it? Everyone knows I've got the hump that football is so bloody important. We've got to play it, etc. These players are just flaunting it. I wouldn't say they even flaunt the rules, etc. It's this stuff with who was it? Grealish, wasn't it? Without his car, crashed his car. You know, in lockdown. You know, it's not just him; it's others as well. There'll be people listening to this who did it as well. Just got to say why. I'll go back to my opening statement. The bloke's a dickhead, absolute dickhead. And yes, he should have been just not benched. He should have been dropped. Yes, that's to the detriment of the club, the team, maybe. I think we can actually do all right without him, but where does the standard get set?
I'm reading your comments in the.
I heard Roy's post-match interview, and you can tell when Roy's angry. Yeah, he was a little bit niggled by it, and so he should.
I think he was more angry with the reporters talking about it than clearly he wasn't angry enough because of what he did. Because of the action that he took.
Roy's pissed off about, and he may be pissed off that the reporter asked him because maybe he said before he went live, "Don't ask me," and then when he goes live, he asked him. Yeah, that's happened to Roy before. He's reporter short before.
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, I'm reading every one of your comments as they go through. Okay, I'd love to know what you think. Please put it in there. Okay, I'm going to read you, gentlemen. I'm going to read, and everybody out in Facebook land, the actual interview yesterday from post-match. Reporter to Roy, can we ask you about Luka Milivojevic's potentially breaking COVID protocols on New Year's Eve with Alexander Mitrovic? Did you know about that? And should he have been playing today? Well, I didn't know about it before last night, of course, because obviously it's New Year's Day, and that's when it happened on New Year's Eve, when we were told the story was going to break. So he did know about it pre-match, and plenty of time pre-match, just from that one paragraph there. It was actually partying was a question of him inviting him or a fellow Serb, Mitrovic, to come round and join him. So that's clear breach of coronavirus rules. We condemn it, and we certainly apologise for it, and we're certain Luka will as well. Well, he hasn't done so far, but certainly apologise for it, and we're sure Luka will as well. But as far as I'm concerned, we must take responsibility for that. It's an internal matter that we can deal with. There is literally nothing positive I can say on the matter. Well, actually, do you know what, Roy? I don't think it is an internal matter at all. The guy, in my mind, that's countermand to gross misconduct. Bringing the club into disrepute is my thoughts. I'm going to carry on. With regard to the second part of your question, neither he nor Mitrovic had in any way tested positive. So neither players were positive. If you like, in that respect, we weren't concerned about the breaching of Premier League protocols, and therefore it's quite correct, I think, that Luka played the game. I disagree. Next question was, what do you say to those Palace fans that were surprised that A, he was playing, and B, you let him be captain today? Well, I don't accept that situation. I'm afraid I'm not in contact. How about this for a sarcastic comment? I'm afraid I'm not in contact with 20-odd thousand Palace fans we have, so I find that his comments are impossible to comment upon. I must say that I'd be rather surprised if there was an outcry from Palace fans. Mate, you've lost the plot. Mate, you're miles behind. Mate, you are miles behind the curveball. I'll just repeat that. I would be surprised if there was an outcry from the Palace fans. Well, clearly you haven't seen Twitter, Roy, have you? Okay. Knowing that they are more concerned basically with us winning football matches, of course, and not breaching Premier League protocols. Bullshit, mate. You're talking crap. But on the other hand, this breach of government guidelines, which we didn't want to happen, which we are very unhappy about, and we apologise for it, we'll discuss the matter internally and deal with it internally. But to suggest that the impact of him playing today and losing the captaincy, I think you're taking it too far, is what he said. Now, I'd like to refer you all, and unfortunately, I can't find some of my notes, but there was a long Twitter feed. Go on in, jump in, mate. While I look.
Well, first off, Tim, I can see you in the chat. Yeah, come on, mate.
Yeah, jump on, Tim.
I would. That's what you've just read out must have been post the interview that he did for Sky. Because when he did the interview with Sky, he said Luka has apologised. He's got to do more than that, and it is going to be an internal. We'll deal with it internally. And as far as that's concerned, forget the fact that Roy actually was naive enough to play him and think that people weren't going to be peed off. And for some reason, he's completely ignored the fact that he's been woeful for the last 2 or 3 months on top of that. He's clearly, I can see from what you read that he clearly is wound up by it all, and maybe something will come of it. But I don't know. Will it just be a fine? You know, what is he just going to get a slap on the wrist? This guy went to someone else's house from a team and a club that has got COVID running rife through it, and has postponed matches as a result of the issue they've got with COVID. So,
You're absolutely right.
How we can think of even introducing him to the squad at that particular point is beyond me. And if we start getting COVID appearing in the squad, massive questions will be asked.
Quite right. Ladies and gentlemen, can I also welcome along producer Tim Richards, who is happily producing in the background, and he wanted to jump on because he's got something he wants to say on the subject before I give you the tweets that are available that clearly our dear beloved manager didn't read yesterday. Go on, Tim. Welcome, mate. Happy New Year.
Good morning, happy New Year to all. We're a bit detached from it down here, I guess, in New Zealand now. But when I saw that, I was incredibly pissed off. Poor Wendy's mum, like so many, is in assisted living in a small apartment in East London. She has not been able to leave her apartment since March last year. And to see people like that who are living as benefit of the life as he is, to behave like that and think it's okay and I'm sorry, even though he hasn't said sorry, and for the manager to come out with those comments, I'm sorry, but to me that's just not acceptable. And there's so many people doing it far worse that are abiding by the rules. The words fail me to a certain extent.
Grant, I'm going to come to you in a minute. Ian asked the question, what would the punishment be? I mean, personally, after all that we've been through over the last few weeks, this guy is on a fortune. This guy, I don't know what his weekly wage is. I wonder if I might even have that to hand. But he's on a massive contract, okay? 4-year deal, 11.4 million contract he's on. Average salary, 2.288 per year. The guy's on a huge salary. He should be fined 2 weeks' wages, in my mind. He should lose a captaincy for a period of time. I'm not saying permanently, okay? Not saying permanently, but hello, Jel, welcome back, mate. And that money that he loses should be given to, I don't care where it goes, NHS. How about the food banks that all the Palace fans have been supporting recently? Think about what Grant and Ian Noble have been doing over Christmas, out delivering food parcels to one of the food banks. That's my opinion. Jel, thanks for coming back, mate. I don't know what happened there. Your thoughts, give me an outline of your thoughts before I read your these tweets out. Your overview on the Milivojevic subject, please, mate.
Just read my tweet. You've got it in front of you.
No, I haven't got your tweet. I've got another mate. Can you read your tweet out that you did earlier?
Because I'm on my phone, because I can't go on my computer, can I? The software don't allow me to go on, so...
Oh, right, okay. I haven't got it to hand, but I mean, the outline of your tweet.
Well, okay. So firstly, the club and Roy have bottled it. Secondly, I wanted him out of the team. I didn't want him playing yesterday. The thing is, right, when you have like a really shit attitude like he's got, like I don't give a fuck about anyone's attitude apart from myself, because I'm going out with my pals who also are footballers that don't give a shit about anyone else. Then I cease to begin. I don't want to be anywhere near. I don't want him anywhere near an interest that I got, even if it's not. It's just a vested fan interest. I don't want to watch him involved in my club. And I would think that Parish, Hodgson, the people at home, the Americans, should be going, get him out. And if you don't want to show me the 23s, seriously put him up for sale. I literally am sick. I mean, Mitrovic has always been an egg anyway, right? Everyone knows he's got a crap attitude. Milivojevic, I thought, being the captain of the club, he might have had something a little bit more about him than doing what he's done. I believe he's married, got kids, isn't he? Is he?
Yeah.
Milivojevic?
I think so.
I thought so. I'm sure I've seen pictures of him.
I think so, yeah.
But for him to have that I don't care, I'm going out, it flies in the face of people like Teresa that come on this show, that are part of this show, that put in life-saving care for people, and everyone else, and Jane, and anyone else surrounding, or just anyone else. It's just had everybody, right? I missed out on a really decent Christmas that we'd already paid for. It would have been my first proper Christmas with my granddaughter, my first grandchild, with my kids. We had everything planned, everything paid for, everything, right? But I never went out. Oh, we always go out New Year's Eve. Always over to our friend Alison and Paul's in Biggin Hill. Didn't do that this year, but nah, because he's footballer. I want to do what I want. I wish I'd have done what I want now. And then people go, "Oh, you did this." I go, "Oh, hang on a minute. You know, pillar of the community, my football club, Serbian football. You know, he does what he likes. I don't give a toss." This is what's going to turn a lot of people into people. He's going to give a lot of people with that attitude, the same attitude that he's got, where he does not care. And this is the other thing, right, as well. The apologies don't work. I know. So I've had to come inside.
Hi, Lise. Happy New Year, darling.
No, she can't hear you. I've got my earphones in. Okay. I literally just wish, just for once, I own that club. Because I can actually see now, I'd sack him. I would actually, and anyone else. Anyone, I mean, there's how many footballers are there? 6, 7, 8, 10 that have done it over in the last week.
Right, okay.
They don't care. This hero worship that they get, they don't deserve. Honestly, I would launch him.
Should they make it?
Honestly, no one else is. No, absolutely. And this is the other thing as well, right? Our football club they've never stood in the way of. We've had lots of first in football, loads and loads of stuff, you know, all generally good. We could really do something that would make these people stand up and look. We could sack him, right, and go, get out, and don't care. Honestly, this conversation today on Twitter, right? You can only fine a player 2 weeks' wages. PFA come in and they go, you can't fine him 2 weeks and 1 day. Only fine him 2 weeks' wages. The only thing I couldn't find on the internet, so I spent the afternoon looking, was how many times you can fine him 2 weeks' wages. If it's 2 weeks, wait 4 weeks, fine him another 2 weeks. But then that carries on, it's a punishment, so you can't do that. The punishment needs to be concise, straight away. It has to happen straight away. And for me, the only thing that I can think of is a monetary, you know, whatever he's on, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds a week. It's not going to hurt him. It isn't going to hurt him. It's like taking 20 grand off Ian. It isn't going to hurt him. You know, it's. I'm taking some properties off him.
I need to jump on. Okay, so I want to. Ladies and gentlemen in Facebook land, I'm reading your comments, okay? Andrew Adams, a particular question to you, because there's lots of comments about what people think that should happen to him. But Andrew Adams said, or how about a public flogging on the pitch? Andrew, do you think we're being too heavy-handed to this? You're absolutely entitled to your opinion. Do you think we're being too heavy-handed? Was your comment sarcastic? Because obviously, that's Lee Lockwood saying, just shows you money doesn't buy common sense. Michael Newbold said an apology given by microphone and speakers outside has part of the power.
No, that never do. They'll never do. And he kicked him out. If you kicked him out, just look. Honestly, I don't care what you do. You can go out and do whatever you like, mate. You ain't paying for this club for the rest of the season. At least, and every single time we can find him, every chance we get, we need to punish these people. You can't throw in 2 weeks' money at them is no good. You can't. You literally cannot. Even going, oh, come on, we're saying that a COVID wall. They don't. They literally do not care. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about the club. He doesn't care about his family. I don't know what the situation is apart from if it was me. I'm telling you about this, right? If I had a fellow working for me. And I said to him, and this is why I work on my own, right? It happened twice. Don't come in. I work in someone's house, different person's house every day, right? Don't come in smelling the booze. Don't come in smelling the smoke. Just don't be swearing all the time. Don't, you know, employ the geezer. First day come in, Monday morning, come in, been on the piss all Saturday, all Sunday. I was like, what? Yeah, see you later. Gone. That's it, finished. And for me, these people, they have a massive responsibility. Luka Milivojevic has a multi-million-pound responsibility to our football club because no matter what happens, we have to pay him multi-millions of pounds. Which means literally he can do what he likes, and through the PFA, probably through his agent and whoever else, we can sack him, and he's still going to be a squillionaire. It won't matter. But it just means, his moral compass, mate, doesn't even point the same way to any of us that have suffered Christmas, New Year, had lost friends. That our moral compass doesn't point the same way as his. And I ain't going to say it's a wherever he comes from, they do what they want. They can, they have this proud attitude of being their own boss. I don't care about stuff like that. Honestly, he cannot do what he's done. He's embarrassed our club. But just getting on, and I'm on my aisles here. And while I'm on my aisles, Hodgson to swerve that yesterday, embarrassing. Parish, I have not seen anything on social media apart from the usual crap that when we lose, we hear nothing from him, and he's come on and give us the obligatory whatever, we've won again or whatever he's done. Has Steve Parish come out and said anything? Because if this was bullshit news, like some people are claiming, he's in the saying it was last year, right? Then Hodgson would have said, it's last year's news, fake news, get out of my sight. He hasn't done that. So it's obvious. The same as Man City, Mendy at Man City on the substitutes bench today. What is going on with football and footballers where they just don't care? Football needs to make an example of these people. I don't understand it.
Okay, so I wanted to come on to the Twitter. There's loads of stuff on Twitter. Grant, can you see the comments in the chat? The guys on the page. Can jump in at any point, mate, and read some of those out for me because I know the others are struggling to see it. Okay, so there was a feed started by journalist Matt Woosnam. He said, "Roy saying I'll be very surprised if there's an outcry by Palace fans. They'd be more concerned with us winning football matches and suggest an impact upon him playing and losing his captaincy is taking it slightly too far." If you haven't seen that thread, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be worth your while jumping on Twitter and having a look. I've got loads of them. I won't bore you with them. But to say that they are mirrored by the three gentlemen you're looking at this evening, not me included, okay, is absolutely. This is totally what they're doing. Everybody's mirroring what there is a huge outcry, and the club and Roy Hodgson in particular has completely misunderstood the feeling out there about what he has done. Okay, because at the end of the day, over 50,000 people have lost their lives to this thing. Okay, and as Jel quite rightly and eloquently put, he thinks he can ride roughshod over it because he's a multi-squillionaire. Grant, anything in the chat there, mate?
Nigel Crouch just said he's just checked on Twitter. There's nothing from Parish at all about it. I think all Parish said was Happy New Year to people. That was it. Yeah. Apparently, Jill, you're on the pot. John knocked Mr. Ness out, but you're spot on. But he said you're pot on. That's about it.
Andrew Adams, I can see Andrew was being sarcastic, by the way. It hadn't passed me by, which is why I asked the question to Andrew. Yeah, so he's actually saying that the club clearly are not being severe enough with him. Yeah, go for it, Grant.
Yeah, but there's general consensus he needs to have something done to him, stripped of captaincy, fine, etc. But the money means nothing to him. A good comment here from Lee Lockwood. Unfortunately, it's going to have to take a player to get seriously ill before anybody actually takes it seriously, takes note of it, which is a great point, really good point. Yeah, they're all fit and healthy, etc. They might not suffer from it as much.
I'm looking for Jones' question. Can you see Jones' question? Because it's gone up past my screen and somebody said, great question. Joan, ask it again in the chat and I shall read it out, please, because I can't see it. Joan.
Who from?
Joan
Wells.
Yeah.
Wonder what the other players think of him. Good point.
Yeah, and that was echoed. Your good point was echoed in the chat as well. Somebody said, absolutely agree with you. It'd be interesting. I don't know. Bear in mind, Wilf was out with self-isolated. He did the right thing. He missed 2 or 3 games, didn't he? I think, did somebody else not miss some games? Somebody out there would tell me, I'm sure. But it's just...
Jordan Knight.
Oh, Jordan Knight. Okay. Yeah, it was. So, these guys do the right thing, okay, and this twat, okay, who again, one of you just rightly said hasn't been playing that well, decides to do it a completely different way. I'm sorry.
I mean, of course, the irony of ironies is if he did catch it, it'd be the only thing he's caught all season.
No,
I mean,
see, but you needed Hennessy for that game, didn't you? You needed Hennessy for that game.
It's very flexible, very flexible. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is if he does come out and make an apology, he's made to make an apology. It's crocodile tears, as Jel said, and as Grant have alluded to. You know, the guy needs to be, and I'm not just saying it's him, all of them need to be made an example of. They'll hide behind the old, oh, well, you know, we're tested every day and we haven't got it. Well, you haven't got it at the point of the test, but that's not to say that you're going to, as I said before, you're going to someone's house as someone that's been in and around a football club that's probably been affected the worst by it, and yet you're just not thinking. And this is what. Oh, I know that we can't necessarily find him more than 2 weeks. What can we do? Maybe they can just say, look, sorry, mate, but you're out. Or maybe the government just step in and start taking all their work permits away, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But for Roy to come out and say that, he's probably, as the boys have suggested, he's probably ducking the issue and hoping it's, by doing so, it will die a death. But to make that assumption verbally that none of us are concerned, we're more concerned about the points. Well, theoretically, he may well be right there, but nevertheless, it still doesn't mean that we're not acutely aware. As Jel said, we've all been doing our bit, and we expect everyone to be doing their bit.
Jel? Comment from Gary Clark. It's a really good point made, in fact. It's a bit like drink driving. A lot of people drink drive. The unlucky ones get caught. Are all the players at this? Who knows? Look at the
But when you drink drive, you don't necessarily put it all over social media, do you? That's again. This is something else.
The point very good, Ian. He's saying, are all the players at it? They all think they're above the law. They all think they're above it.
But again, this is what does my head in. They're all posing for bloody photos. How do they expect it not to get out there? It's just blatantly ridiculous.
Laurie Scott's just said former Palace keeper McCarthy at Southampton has now got COVID. His question is, why are so many footballers getting it? Well, I think we know the bloody answer to that, don't we? New Year's Eve. Oh, it drives me nuts. Anything else in the chat, Grant?
No, there will be, but I'll read them.
So those comments that I've got from Twitter, it's just echoing what we said. Remiss for me to say at the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, you can watch us at any time. You don't have to watch the Sunday night live at 8 o'clock. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, anytime, either watch, listen, or download this or any of our podcasts. We're not always as serious as we are tonight. Or ask your Alexa, play the latest Red and Blue Review podcast, or simply go to the redandbluereview.co.uk for all the links on the previous shows. So we are having that conversation tonight, and I hope you're enjoying it. We are the only podcast you can watch. And also on there's a whole segment on Ian's Predictions League. So if you don't know what we're on about when we're talking about the Predictions League, pop onto redandbluereview.co.uk. It's all there for you, laid out brilliantly by our wonderful other producer, Lucy Usher, who's enjoying her winter break at the moment.
Grant, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, quick one in the catch from Lawrence Allen. Roy probably thought we won the match, problem solved, the Palace faithful will be happy. It's a good point. You can see him like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, Nick, what else did you want to discuss tonight? But because I think this rolls nicely on as to what people's thoughts are on now on Roy.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful segue. It's as though we rehearsed that, Lionsy, because we are going to talk about that, okay? And this as well. It's a subject that we touched on before. First of all, the manager's contract is up at the end of the season. Everybody on Facebook land, okay? In June, his contract is up. Does the question that he has, they haven't started naming or talking about succession plans, indicate to you that Parish is already talking to him about extending his contract? The guy is now 70 73, is it? 72, 73 years old? 73, thanks, Jill. And he's 73 years old. Are the club already talking to him about extending his contract? And in the light of what's happened over this weekend, okay, and the disappointing football that we played over Christmas and the last couple of months, even though we are sitting on 22 points, I accept. Would you want Roy to have an extension? Okay, are you happy for Roy to have an extension? Are you happy with safety as we are? Because we are going to be safe. You know that Sheffield have already gone. It's just a question of another 2 from the bottom 5 are going to go, and it ain't going to be us. We're going to be quite comfortable. Are you happy that the manager's going to go? Is that the reason why he's actually suggesting in the press this week that he's not expecting any major signings? The only signings that will come in, okay, will be if somebody goes out. Okay, so we've talked all season about the need to refresh the ageing squad. Okay, and I think we came to the conclusion, boys, over the last a couple of months ago, where we said we need to get rid of maybe 5 in the January window and 5 in the summer window just to refresh the squad. Well, judging by his comments in the press, it ain't going to happen. He's not expecting any major signing. Joe, if we don't make any major signings, okay, I want to also ask you about the manager's contract. The manager's contract first. Okay, if we don't make any major signings, how does that reflect on us as a club?
Well, I mean, all season the commentary comes on every live game I've heard. Have said, this is now we consistently put out the oldest team in the league, average age of 29 years and something. I don't know. I mean, I hope that we can, if we survive in this league this year, everyone's taking it for granted that we will do. But we can easily go on a 5-game losing streak. We lose 5, Brighton win 3. They're above us. We're only 8 points ahead of them, so don't take anything for granted in this league. Do I want Roy in charge next year? No, I don't. I already think that he's had 3 years with our best team that we've had for 20 years. So, and I would have thought that we could have pushed on a little bit more. I can't see that, that we can attract. Well, no, we can attract young players because that's a lie because we've attracted theirs age. And we need to talk about him. We really need to talk about him tonight. And Schlupp.
Okay.
But I hope he's not. And all the people are going to go, oh, well, who would you want? Honestly, I don't care. I don't care. Put the cat where he sits. Right, it's going to look better than him. Everyone will go, instead of look at him, he's the doddery old geezer, ain't got a clue. And then just let Lewin shout at him. The other thing as well, one of the little blue ticks that follows us said, oh, how archaic is it? Can you hear him screaming and shouting and this, that, and the other? Now everyone's going, oh, can you hear him? Did you hear Ray going, go, go, go? When he got the ball yesterday, unbelievable. He's getting all the plaudits,
Mate, I think it's
what people do. It's what people do. Because when he didn't do it, what's his name did it? Who left us a couple of years ago?
Stephen Reid.
Stephen Reid. You used to get out there and absolutely scream dogs abuse. And then
I think it's been a revelation in this COVID time with no crowds in the stadium. Jill, I think that's actually a great point. I think it's been a revelation seeing how he.
We've heard everything, right? So we've heard the managers, we've heard the coaching staff, we've heard the players. Who are the only people we haven't heard from?
Manager and chairman.
Referees.
Oh, the referees.
That's all we need. Need to mic up the referees. So she's come into your room without a drink, Grant. Bad form.
Happy New Year, John.
I don't want Roy in charge next year, and honestly, I think we can, if we get rid of a couple of our high earners, we can try and attract a higher standard of manager. But it is what it is. I think we need a slightly younger. I was looking at Callum Wilson today, thinking, man, if he was up front at our club.
How many years?
We had him and Wilf up front.
How many years have you been banging on about Callum Wilson that you'd love him at the club?
I'm just saying, he scored loads of goals for us.
The one thing about you is you've been consistent with it, Jel, over the years. Grant Saunders, over to you.
About Roy, I did a little.
No, about your poll, mate. About your poll, yeah.
Yeah, I did a little poll on my page earlier. That just asked people's thoughts on a new manager, because we're always good at creating a problem, but never actually presenting a solution. So when I normally do a poll, I just leave it closed. You can't add other people, etc. So I just put a few people in there and left it open so people could add their own comments. 243 people put a finger to button, and 58% of them opted for the choice of Roy not to go just yet, which I thought was quite high. Rafa Benitez was second with 15% of the votes, and after it got down to the 7 to 6%, Sean Dyche, Steven Gerrard, Eddie Howe, no thanks. So it's interesting across the fan base. There's confidence in Roy. They don't want him to go just yet, because my option was Roy, no, not just yet.
It's interesting you say that, because I did the same after the Villa game on Red and Blue News, and around 1,000 people voted then, and it was either Roy to go now, Roy to go at the end of the season, or Roy not to go, and it's closer to 95% want Roy gone, either now or at the end of the season.
Very emotive though, yeah. You do it straight after a 3-0 loss. Very emotive.
But people have still been voting on that. Was that amount of people weren't, didn't suddenly go on. That's been since that point. So that's why I left it open. And there was a similar poll with regards to managers, because it's easy to say, and I quite understand it when people say, well, it's easy to say get rid of the bloke, but then who are you going to bring in? I think there are some interesting candidates. Regardless what happens, Roy's going to go, whether it be now at the end of the season or whenever. I just hope he goes out on a high, and is able to hold his head up high. But I think the guy Franks at Brentford is a decent shout.
Thomas Frank? George Wagner, we talking about Thomas Frank.
Yeah, that's the guy. I think Gerrard, I'd be nice to have him, but I don't think he'd come. Certainly wouldn't come at the minute. Maybe once they've won the title, he might want to come. And then people are saying, well, we'd only use this as a step up to better things. But that's what you want. That's what you want from players as well as managers, because that's all we are at the minute. We're a stepping stone as a club until we're consistently in the top 10, 8 or whatever. Sean Dyche, I think I've always had a liking for Sean Dyche. I think he would be the pragmatic approach. He sets his teams up similar to Roy. They're hardworking. He doesn't take any nonsense. Lucas certainly wouldn't have started with Dyche in charge. But he does change things, which is Roy's biggest Achilles heel. And the other one is Rafa Benitez. He's still looking for.
I know. I'll tell you what, and I think you do a cracking job. I'm just going to try and give a bit of balance to this conversation, guys, because it's not all about Roy out. Michael Newbold in the chat says 6 years of stability. Okay, we're not a yo-yo club anymore. Be careful what you wish for, gentlemen. And I think he's right to make.
But that's such a tired old trope. Be careful what you wish for.
No, he didn't say that. I did.
Yeah, but regardless of who says it, it's still a tired old trope. I think we need to ask ourselves one thing as a fan base: are we just happy treading water, or do we want to progress as a club? If you're happy to tread water, sooner or later you will stop treading water and you will drown. Okay, unless you're continually looking to improve, everyone else is looking to improve. You will start suddenly and steadily going backwards and backwards and backwards. That's my viewpoint.
I'll just finish off what Michael said. No yo-yoing. Now all we need is more finance to come in. Start charging the board £1 million to use the VIP room. I'm not too sure what that's actually in aid of. Where was I going to go next? Grant, anything else in the chat?
Just reading now. People are saying that Roy should be respected for his whole management career. Yes, but most of his titles were when the games were a whole lot different to the ball game now.
Mm.
Good point.
That-
Good point. And that was overseas.
Does that include his England career? Yeah, it's rough with the smooth. As I say, we're not saying. I'm certainly not saying he's done terribly with us at all. He's done us a right touch, but his style of management and his not necessarily his age, but his inability to make changes when they're needed, to drop people when they're not in form is his makeup, is his way of managing, but it will only take us so far.
So just reading to you that report from Sam Smith, I think it's Daily Fail. Roy Hodgson does not expect to add to his Crystal Palace squad during the January transfer window unless a player departs. The Eagles have been linked with a move for Watford winger Ismaili Sarr. The Hornets turned down a £25 million bid from the South Londoners on deadline day in October. But the Palace boss is content with his squad and is not desperate for additions this month. Tell you that all that worries me. I mean, this is a quote from Roy, so I'm presuming this conversation actually took place. Hodgson said, "Our squad at the moment is a good one. I'm happy with it. It's a full squad as well, and there are no particular gaps we could fill with players. If anything is going to happen, it will be on the basis that some players leave us, and therefore a gap is created where a new player will come in. If that moment arrives, I'm sure there will be some reason for us to sit down and talk about it. But there's no point at the moment in talking about those things because we have players. Any players come in, we'd just be adding to the 25 we already have." And then he goes on to talk about the
24.
talk about the boring Zaha subject. Okay, talking about Zaha's happy here, blah 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 blah. But that's all said and done, but still haven't referred to this. And that list is, thank you, Nigel Croucher, once again, supplied to me an updated version of the contract list for the players going out in 2021, okay, or running out of contracts. And Joe, you touched upon it earlier on about getting rid of some of the big wages off the bill. Okay, well, how about this? Mamadou Sakho, we paid £25.38 million for him. Okay, 4-year contract, average salary 5.2 a year. Max Mayer, who? Somebody remember him? Max Mayer.
That's what I said. 24.
£6.5 million a year. Scott Dan 3.1, Connor Wickham 3.1, Schlupp. Okay, we will do Schlupp and Eze in a minute, I promise you. Okay, Van Arnholt, Townsend, Benteke, 6.2 million quid. Guaita, I know they're talking to Guaita. Heard that from a very good source that they're talking to Guaita, but nothing's signed yet. James MacArthur, Gary Cahill that we know, Hennessy, Ward, Nathaniel Klein, Martin Kelly, Nathan Ferguson, okay, Brandon Perrick and Stephen Henderson. They're all out of contract in June. For me, the alarm bell started, and we started talking about this on this show a year ago, didn't we, boys? And it hasn't been, apart from Eze, it hasn't improved. The fact that we kept Wilf is a bonus, and Eze coming in is another massive bonus that we will talk about in a second. But I've got to tell you now, my concerns were a year ago about this, and we raised that subject then. I know some of the other podcasts have consequently picked up on it since then, but I think it's now critical. The transfer window closes in 27 days' time, okay, and they don't plan to bring anybody in. Am I right to be concerned, boys? Over to you. Anybody?
I think you summed it up quite nicely.
Same old.
Same old, isn't it?
Yeah, just same.
What is it?
Yeah,
What is it?
It's rinse, repeat. It's rinse, repeat every year after year. It's just,
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I can understand it. Are they trying to run? Are they happy to run the players to run their contracts out? Are there thoughts on the changing the manager? Anything to playing into this? Who knows? But it's for me the key will be Wilf. If now Pochettino's at PSG, I think there's a strong possibility they'll come in for him, and they'll probably pay us what we want. What I would like to see, I know we got Eze in by and large as a replacement for when that should happen, which was good business. Everyone's seeing that now. But I would, Ismail Sarr, maybe he will come in, but I'd like to see us do the business before, accepting an offer on the quiet from PSG before it gets out, doing a deal with Sarr, and then letting them go. Otherwise, we'll have our plans pulled down because we're not as good as we think we are in a lot of the negotiations. I mean, look how we dealt with the Ollie Watkins one and a number of others as well. But it's no surprise at the minute. There's such uncertainty around the management of the club, around the ownership of the club at the minute that I don't think they're going to put their hands in their pockets.
Okay, I think we'll draw the line under it there, boys. I think we will. I've got a couple of other bits I want to talk about. Laurie, I haven't got round to your question this evening. I have kept it. I've got it on my laptop, and we'll use it for next week. Okay. Laurie's sent me a couple of questions in the questions crew chat, and good evening to all of you in the questions crew. Thank you for all you've done this year. Really appreciate. Or last year, I really appreciate it. We're going to have an even better year coming up. I promise you. Let's lift the mood a little bit, boys, okay? Because Jill's right to raise the subject, and Ian just touched on the possibility that Zaha could go. And if he was going to go to anyone, I'd be quite happy for him to go to PSG. I don't want to see him in another Premier League team facing us week in, week out. I'd be quite happy. Jill, give us your thoughts on what the fuck have we unearthed with Eze, or have QPR unearthed with Eze? What have we got there?
Well, they did. The QPR fans told us, didn't they? They said you have got the most amazing player, and now, the more he's on TV, the more other people come out and say, the Leeds manager turned around and said that he was world class, that they really wanted him. But I believe that it was only us and Newcastle that were ever in for him. And then when we were in for him at the same time as Newcastle, there was never any. He was never going to go up there. He was always going to come to us. So, but for me, this is not an overreaction because every time we see him, we've seen his free kick, we've seen the way he goes past players in almost every single time he plays. But this is going to sound, and I promise you, this is not an overreaction. Do you remember when Paul Pogba was good? Do you remember he picked the ball up and just had that little three-step sprint, got past players, carried on, looked up, always at that. I said to my son-in-law, my son-in-law's a Man United fan, and I said, he honestly, he reminds me of him. We can only keep that man. I'm telling you now, he will not be at our club for more than 2 years. He is. I'm not going to say world class because he hasn't been tested, but believe me, when he goes into any European games with his next club, he will get Wilf treatment. They will just, and that's what's going to happen in the Premier League soon. Is they will target him because they will just go after him. They will do. At this conversation again today, people said, about Wilf, this, that, and the other, but Troy Deeney came out and said, we'll just take it in turns kicking Wilf. We'll try and kick him out of the game, get him upset, try and get him sent off. And that's what they'll do to Eze. They will just at the moment, he's new to the Premier League. He gets up as a smile. Sooner or later, like Wilf, he'll get pissed off of it. And then you'll see the test of his character. But believe me, I've been going to Palace for a long time now. And I can't ever remember someone picking a ball up and it glides. He literally glides, and he's got 2 decent feet. Man, we should be rightly excited by it. He is at the moment. Wilf, we need to keep Wilf. They bound off each other fantastically. We've got a left-footed left back. We've got a left-footed genius midfielder for me and Riedewald. We've got Eze. We've got Wilf. That's 4 players in a real. Even Schlupp is coming into his own now. He looks like he's enjoying his football. Got injured yesterday, but I mean, man, that left-hand side of the field, that left half from the centre to the left wing, it's probably about as best as I've ever seen.
Do you know what? It's been a
Honestly.
long time. It's been a long time since I've seen Jel Holyoke so horny about a Palace squad, and it's great to see. Ian, I'm coming to you in a minute. I'm coming to you in a minute because I want to know the answer. Should Wilf have had a red card yesterday? Ian Lars, I'm coming to you in a minute. Grant Saunders, have you seen the message in the chat about the book?
No.
We have a winner.
We
have a winner. We have a winner.
Right, the book was won by Cannon Matty.
Matty Cannon. We have, ladies and
No,
gentlemen,
the other
winner.
one.
So the winner of the
Get
winner
your
of the
address
prize
to you and it
book-
can be posted off.
Yeah, the winner of the Price of Football book goes to Matty Cannon. Thank you, Jill, for putting that in there. I appreciate it, mate. Well done for compiling that last week or the week before. Matty, get in touch with Grant or myself with all your contact details and he'll get it posted off to you. Mr. Saunders.
I just want to follow on from Jel. First of all, Paul Holden said something about in 2 years' time, Jel will be ranting at Eze for breaking the 33rd lockdown rules. Yeah, quite nice time. I think Eze's different. I think Eze's different to Wilf. Wilf's a more ecstatic player around the players. Joe, you actually said the word glide. I was waiting for you to finish because I was going to say what Eze does. He actually glides with that ball, and he's different to Wilf. So I don't think people get too easy to catch him. I don't know if everyone saw. There was a clip that came out from the club that showed Eze's run, and the camera from by the goal saw him the whole way from his own half. The bloke didn't look down at all. He was looking up the whole time. What football should be doing? But he's different. He is different. Yeah, you see, Jimmy Mack, loved the guy, absolutely played it blindly yesterday, but he is head down, he runs like this. Eze is completely different. He was looking at his options. He knew he had no options yesterday. So he thinks,
Just kept going.
He saw the gap. But it was so easy for him just to go past the player. It was nothing special. It's a simple change of direction. Off he went.
And he used the defender beautifully to block the goalkeeper. So,
Joe wants to take me off now.
No, I don't. I've just seen in the chat, someone just turned around and said, Jill, the best comparison you can come up with was Pogba. honestly.
At least it wasn't Pob.
I really get excited by players at Palace, but for me, like he is wow at the moment for me. Do you know what? The last time I got this about a Palace player, you know when that was? Ian Wright.
Wilf. Ladies and gentlemen out there.
Ian Wright.
I need to put a word of caution out in Facebook land. Ladies and gentlemen, if I've upset anybody or I've put an image in your head about the sort of Jel Holyoke getting horny, I'm so sorry. I do apologise. It's maybe I shouldn't have used that phrase. Grant, you wanted to add something else?
Probably, but you completely throw him off of tracks by giving me that image in my head.
We were talking about the red card, Ian.
As if 2021 couldn't be any worse than 2020. Jel getting horny. Right. I'm pleased these two have.
That's what the pills are for.
My thoughts. Yeah, exactly. Take the blue one, not the little red one. I'm glad these two have echoed my thoughts over the last couple of months about Eze. Glide was one of the first things I found out about him. I think we need to temper it because Sheffield United are a poor team. But Grant is spot on. I'm screaming at the TV, run, and he's running into space, and all the time he looks at the ball twice. Once he's gone past the bloke, when he's moving the ball, he's actually looking down at his feet, but when he's running with it, he's just looking up and looking at the options. Fabulous talent. That is so hard to teach. That is just like a gift. How people didn't pull the trigger and buy this kid when he was performing so well for QPR, exactly. I have no idea.
20 million quid. 20 million
exactly.
quid, mate. That's all we paid.
That's more power to us. So let's credit where credit's due. As always on this show, credit where credit's due. So, but what I would say is that at the minute, Wilf is allowing him this space and time to run at people because he's taking two players because they're always trying to kick crap out of him. If Wilf goes, I think he might struggle a bit more unless we have another threat on the wing. So that would be interesting how that pans out.
I thought you
Is he
answered the red card anyway.
I'll go on to that in a minute. Is he an outside chance for Euro squad? Perhaps.
Nice one.
The red card, I thought it was a tightrope red. Yeah, definitely. And I think this is what annoys me with Wilf. And this is maybe why clubs are a bit reticent to come into him, because he said he said after the Leicester game, that's me. I'm just intense. But yeah, but plenty of players are intense and don't flip just as easy as you do. And as Leon Osmond said on the commentary on one of the sites, knowing that Jel would do the same. I know, having played football previously, if you're coming up against a player that whinges like a tart, you will pinch him, you will kick him, you will tread on his toes at corners, you will do everything to wind him up and get him in the book, and he will fall for it time and time again. And that is his one weakness. So yes, I would say that was an 80% red, and I cannot believe VAR didn't look at it. Actually, what I would say is Bogle, or whatever his name is, did a right favour by not throwing himself to the ground. So he should be applauded for that.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he could have also had a couple of other red cards for similar sort of things. I think one was in the Leicester game. Can't remember the other game. I'm sure somebody will tell me in the chat. Grant.
Yeah, just want about Eze again. We all know he's had a tough time getting to where he's got. He's had knockbacks, etc. He's made it big time now. And Joan Wells actually mentioned something in the comments about hope Eze doesn't get too big for his boots. I can see that in him. I can see him maybe he's got a bit of cockiness. But is that why he's on the bench? I don't know. Maybe there is something behind the scenes with him.
The other thing,
everyone's talking. We're sitting here talking about he's one for the future. He's going to go to a big club, etc. If you hear that, if you hear nothing but good things about yourself, you start to.
I think Roy's managing properly. Roy himself, he said that I expected this to be a scrap, and therefore I thought he would be a card up the sleeve. When as the game got on. And he also said he knows he's got to improve. He knows he's got to improve in his defensive qualities and intensity, but he is improving. And all the time he improves, that's all I can ask of him. And I saw Eze on a YouTube video and an interview for some obscure site, and he said, "I've got to improve." He said the intensity of this league, this division, means that I'm nowhere near the finished article, and I just need to improve. So I whenever I've heard him speak, he's come across as a really level-headed kid, and long may that continue. But as you say, as he gets the plaudits and as he gets better and better and better, how long will that continue?
On that subject, though, whenever he speaks, two things that come to mind when you guys will be speaking, okay? The one difference between him and Wilf, okay, is Eze does it with a smile on his face, okay? He does it with a smile on his face, not the sullen look that Zaha's got, okay? And I think that's to be applauded. I like that. And the other thing is, my worry, Crystal Palace, if you're watching this, and there's no reason why you should, but if you're watching this, just tie him down to a long-term contract, okay? So when one of the other has he got a 5-year contract? I thought it was only 3.
I thought it was 5.
It's longer.
Chip? Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't got. That's one I haven't got here. Actually, I beg your pardon. I have got it here. I'm sorry. You're quite right. It's a 5-year contract. Oh well, I'm quite happy with that because there's a great sell-on value there. So Grant,
Palace don't need to take no, then, no. Palace don't need to listen.
Grant, your final thoughts, please, mate.
Yeah, I had my hand up. Matt Cannons just said about the interview with the Sheffield United defender. I don't know if you saw it. They actually asked him to talk about Eze's goal. He said the only deal was to hack him down. I thought it was great. He described it.
He said he said I should have done it. So and so should have done it. So and so should have done it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
So coming up, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know what we've got coming up this week and the following weeks. We've got Friday the 8th. We've got FA Cup third round action away at Molineux, which is a 19:45 kickoff. Following week after that,
we're going to have 3 Saturdays in the future then.
Indeed. You follow. I'll follow that up for you. Okay. The following week, away at Arsenal on Thursday, the 14th of January at 8 p.m. And following that, the Sunday the 17th. Sunday the 17th at 7:15 in the evening. We're away at the Etihad Stadium. So good point you raised. What happens with our Saturday afternoons? Well, we haven't got them on there, okay? But the biggest one for your diary, ladies and gentlemen, in case it might have passed you by, don't forget we have a relegation party to celebrate away at the Amex Stadium on February the 20th. Okay, Crystal Palace playing away at Brighton. Okay,
Will we have a roving reporter there or something?
Why don't we do a show down there that night? If there's a chance of them going down, why don't we do a live show from there? What do you think of the chat, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know. I'm quite happy. Let's do our very first outside broadcast from the Amex Stadium, from Farmer Stadium, if we got a chance of sending them down. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know. Grant, I've already got a thumbs up from Grant. Okay, I think what we do. Final thoughts from you, Mr. Lyons.
I don't know. Well, just I'm, as I say, wish everyone a happy New Year, and we'll catch up with you in a week or so's time. Yeah, next week.
And by the way, it hasn't gone unnoticed. It's your first show for about a month or so. So great to see you, buddy. Thank you for doing it. And Mr. Holyoke, final thoughts from you.
Well, I'm hoping by midday tomorrow the club would have grown a pair of bollocks and sorted Luca out. Not just financially either. Hopefully they'd have done that. And yeah, I just, same as Ian really, Happy New Year's to everyone, and let's just hope that we have just a slight little bit less stress when it comes to Palace this year. And,
that never happened.
Right. Is it? Right out. Ladies and gentlemen, the thank yous will appear up on the page in a minute. But thank you to Tim down in New Zealand, who's produced for us once again and done it brilliantly. Thank you to Nigel Croucher, the whole questions crew, everybody,
and everyone else,
all the guys in the background that help put this show together. You in the chat, I will after the show. I will sit here and read every single one of your comments. I promise you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
He will. He's very nerdy like that.
He is. He's got nothing better to do.
Boys, I left something in my pocket for you. There it is. It's just there. Okay, I can see it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick Jel. I've got a fantastic team around me, as you can see, as always. On behalf of myself and each and every one of them, Happy New Year. God bless. Stay safe. And wear that damn face mask. Good night.